Well, what up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Connectors Corner, where we build everything on kingdom principle. I am your host and master connector, Drew Dockery, senior, by the way. I am a business coach and marketing strategist and author as well. And what I do is I show business peoples, professionals, sales professionals, entrepreneurs, small business owners, the whole gamut, even leadership, ministry leaders. But I show you how to not leave results or money on the table by doing three simple things. Number one is growing your network. Number two is monetizing your relationships. And number three is making proper connections. I am also the author of 2 books so far. First book is called The Connector's Handbook, written a few years ago. It's the blueprint for networking. You definitely want to get a copy of that. And the second book, we just dropped it a couple months ago. Think Sales, Make Friends, Unlock Your Path to Millions from the Second Seat. And that is in production right now. Hit the link below. Go get that book. Today, we're going to finish up a topic that we were going to talk about last time we talked, probably last week. But the thing is, I didn't have enough time in our conversation last time. I had some things I had to go take care of. Even today, I still got some stuff to go do because I'm a part-time caretaker for my dad, my wife and I. So she has been a major blessing in helping take care of my beloved father, as he is in a place where, getting old is tough. And he'll tell you that. But I'm grateful he's yet here. And it is a privilege to serve and take care of him at this phase in his life. Because my dad is a strong dude. Definitely didn't want nobody helping him, really. But my sister is his normal caretaker, my oldest sister. And, I'm helping out when I can. And my other siblings tap in when they can. Because it's a lot. It's a major privilege to take care of your parent, but it is a lot. It is a lot. But I got something to go do, so I wanted to come chat with y'all for a few minutes. There were some things I did not talk about last time we talked, and I guess I kind of want to dive a little deeper into my basic origin story. How did I become a business coach? What got me into this arena of coaching? So I'm going to break down everything about my story. It's going to be kind of long. I know y'all probably don't care, but at the same time, you may want to know who you're connected to as far as, being friends and why we do what we do over here at the Connectors Corner. And it's funny because the discovery of my skill or talent to network for results and to get results from networking, I never really thought was a skill or talent. I didn't really think it was a skill or talent until, maybe like 6-7 years ago, when I realized people really suck at what they do. I did a couple podcasts. I think that was one of the openings I used. And I used to use that tagline when I first started coaching. A lot of people suck at what they do. Like when they're in sales, they're doing certain things in sales, but they are absolutely horrible at connecting with people. They're horrible at converting people, having people follow you to a specific destination. So it was just tough, but I'll definitely I'll be as transparent and as authentic as I can, without putting myself in, some sort of legal issue. Cause it was a lot going on with the story. So I was maybe about, I'll tell you this, we'll start here. Being in high school, right? People have cliques. Everybody they gravitate to the people that they connect with, people that are like them, that validate who they are as a person, gives them confidence, makes them comfortable. They enjoy to spend time with this person. So in high school or in school period, what you'll find is you have pockets of people who hang out. Period. The ball players hang out with the ball players. The football team hang out with the football team. The cheerleaders hang with the cheerleaders. The smart kids hang with the smart kids. The street boys hang with the street boys. So it's like you got all these different, I would say, backgrounds, and you got all these different various backgrounds that are connected to different people, and they connect because of what they've been through, what they've experienced. They're a product of their environment, correct? Same thing with church. Church kids is cliquey too. Musicians hang with the musicians. The preachers hang with the preachers. Some of the preachers hang with the preachers. The women missionaries hang with the missionaries. The singers hang with the singers. So everybody kind of click up, and it's not something that they do purposely at first. They don't notice they're doing it, but you gravitate to who you're connecting to on those levels. And it's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. That is totally fine. The problem comes in when people start to ostracize people because they're not connected to your group, as if your group is the group that guarantees somebody a spot as a millionaire, billionaire, or a ticket to heaven. It really doesn't matter. But when you learn how to respect those pockets of people and how to still use them for whatever you're trying to get done, and I'm not talking about use as a way of abusing. When we talk about use on this channel, we are talking about pure value. Pure value. We're not talking about disrespecting somebody. We're not talking about the mistreatment of a person. We are essentially and explicitly and specifically talking about your use or value to whatever the end goal is. So, as a business-minded person, I've always wanted to start business. I've always wanted to get into business. Whatever levels or facets were interesting. The problem or the mistake I would make is, and I'm going to include that. I'm going to include a lot of my failures in this because I had plenty of businesses that flopped. I've been failing forward for a long time. Finally found one good idea that actually made sense, not just for me, but it was something I could actually do. I could actually do it. It was something that my knowledge base, my skills and expertise actually made room for. So you got these pockets of people, right? And how a true leader knows how to use these different pockets of people. So what I did was, when I was growing up, I played ball, but I didn't play ball with the, top-notch ball players or the best kids in the town. It just wasn't the case. I did have some other guys that I played ball with. They were kind of ostracized because they weren't super popular, but they were extremely good as well. So they weren't the popular kids, but they still give you buckets. So we all hung out, and we would go play ball and go to the gym, and we would crash the court different places. And because of that, I was able to tap into other pockets of ball players who may not be the popular. Some of them were in those different areas. I would go to Orchard Park and play. I would go to Lackawanna and play. I would go to Niagara Falls. I used to love playing with my boys from Niagara Falls, going hooping with them. But it was just, you played everywhere. You had all of these different people playing it from different places. Got friends from Toronto who hoop. We would go to UB and we would hoop there. And at UB, it's like a melting pot. So you got people from New York City. You got people from Ohio, Cleveland, Cincinnati. You got people from Florida. You meet all these different types of people because we have one thing in common. And we typically build that relationship and build that network out. So as I'm going through this story, I want to pull out different principles that I kind of took note of and understood, and how I used it to shape my business, right? So that was from high school to college. The one big thing, this was probably wild. And as a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, I got to say that like a preacher. You know what I mean? As a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, I did have some stints where, I was connected with the wrong people. Now, I'm a PK. So my dad is a pastor. My grandfather was a prominent bishop here in Buffalo, New York. Very essential to the growth of one Pentecostal organization in the state of New York, Western New York, Pennsylvania, and into Canada, even Ohio. So he was very influential. And not noticing that what he was doing was exactly what I wanted to do in business, and he was doing it on a high level. But I never noticed that as a kid. My grandfather passed when I was 7 years old, but I would see him all the time. We would hang out all the time. I would be listening to a lot of the stories that I'm hearing him tell my dad talking about to him, and then the stories my dad give me after my grandfather passed away. So, and then as I'm growing in life, you hear all these other stories. So I'll get back to that. But remember, he's a prominent bishop, a religious leader. For those of you who aren't in church or ministry, he was a religious leader for a very prominent Pentecostal organization that grew throughout the world, not just the United States, but he was very essential to the growth in the United States on the East Coast, at least Northeast region, as well as into Canada. So he was definitely that dude. Not trying to like brag on him or nothing like that, but he was really that dude. It's been excuse me. It's been 30 plus years my grandfather's been gone. And every time somebody hears my last name, they immediately ask me, are you connected to? Are you connected to? Are you related to? Remember, are you connected? One of my business coaches, Jared Wilkins, he told me who you're connected to is taking you somewhere. So a lot of these pockets of people, they're connected for one reason. They're looking to go someplace, right? So in high school, I was connected with the wrong kids. I'm a PK. They always say the PKs are bad. It's not the truth. Some of us are misunderstood, but a lot of us are challenged on a lot of different levels. We get challenged all the time. Being a pastor's kid or a preacher's kid is tough because everybody wants to test who you are as a person at your core. I love God. I love Jesus. Yes. But I am not soft. I am not weak. I am not scary. I will fight you. I will box you in church, bro. Like, that's how I was as a kid. Now I understand the sanctity and the sacredness of the sanctuary. So it's different. But I didn't have no problem socking you, slamming you in the hallway, like stuff like that. Because I was picked on as a little kid. When I got older and got some size, buddy, listen, if you want to get there, we can go there, bro. We can get there. And I have no problem getting there quick. And my father, come to find out, was the same way. My grandfather used to get on him too. So it's hereditary, but pray for me. Pray for me. So at that time in high school, though, I'm in high school. Let's get to the story. I'm so sidetracked. In high school, connected with the wrong crowd. Right, one of my buddies was an unlicensed street pharmacist. Right now, I was the church kid, but I was a PK. So ironically, everybody always looked to me to have some sort of heinous dealings with people of different lifestyles. So what I did was, my guy, he had stuff, right? So I knew I did not have the nervous system. Now that I'll say, I didn't want to go to jail. I'm not the type to be taking them kind of risks. I would take risks in other places, but that I wasn't willing to. But people, and at the time, what he sold was illegal. So this is before dispensaries all over the place. We got dispensaries next to churches, smoke shops next to churches now. It's crazy because it's legal. But back then, it was illegal. And if they caught you with it, they was locking you up. My uncle got locked up for walking down the street smoking one in public. And it's on my mother's side. My Uncle Junior, he, God bless the dead. But Uncle Junior was a wild dude. But at the time, I started to really understand what it was about business. Now, granted, my guy who does this is extremely smart. Like he is a very high level, high quality thinker, and he understands the world as we know it from a very different lens than what most folks was understanding at that time. Like even in high school is when I first got an understanding of the stock market and how business works in the stock market and how they kind of rise and fall. And not just watching the numbers, but I mean the sentiments behind what makes the market move. That around that time, I got that same understanding. But him being in business for himself as an unlicensed street pharmacist and me being friends with him, people automatically thought I sold as well. That's what we called it. You sell, you holding, you sold, you selling? No, I was not selling. But I knew who was. So what I did one weekend, I was like, I'm tired of people asking me, do I do this? What I'll do is, and I told him, hey, you don't have no business clientele. He understood business, but he didn't know how to get the clientele. And what I told him was, how about I'll send my network to you and you can sell to them and just hold me down on certain levels. I never put a number on it. I didn't ask him to give me a bunch of money or split any of his profits with me. I just simply asked him, hold me down when I need you. He said, okay, I got you. So that Friday and Thursday, I started sending my entire network. I was funneling my network to him, who I was connected to. It sold him out by Saturday morning or by Friday evening. And he had to do what they call re-up Sunday or Monday before we went back to school Monday. So at that point, now I'm like, okay, whatever he had, he's out of it, right? Pausing right there, that moment showed me the value of my network. You should make money when you refer somebody to somebody else. You should make money because they're going to make something. Even the Bible says, and I hate to be bringing the Bible into this because of this topic and how it started, but this is my story, okay? Remember, I'm coming from a ministerial family. This is what we do. The Bible says a man is worthy of his hire. So, unfortunately, a payment was due because of what I was able to help him do. I helped you make more money. You should be able to chop me out a little bit of money. Most businesses are now based on the referral system. Most businesses are built based on the referral system when they first initially get into business, because the best way to get business in a space of just starting is referrals. So word of mouth is similar to a referral system. It's very close related, if not the exact same thing. But to me, in my opinion, it is the same thing. It is word of mouth marketing that allows people to tap into your network and sell their product. Now, as the word spreads, they end up getting more clientele. They bring an influx of income, and they should be willing to pay you a percentage. Companies call it an affiliate now. So had I known about affiliate fees back then, or if it was something that was prevalent back then, this is Jesus, I'm about to give my age. I'm 40 anyway. I'm 40. This is about 23, 24 years ago, 25 years ago. So I was about 15, 16, 17. Okay. But understanding the concept of an affiliate, we really didn't have, that type of understanding of business, because a lot of people when people think business, they want to make money, but they want to hold it to themselves. They want to hoard it to themselves. So I ended up giving him my network. He sells out. We did this 2 weeks in a row because everybody want to party on the weekend. By the third week, and I'm not asking for no money. I'm just simply asking, we at lunch, grab me a drink, grab me some cookies or something like that. Just hook me up mildly. You done made a couple $100, maybe $1,000 off me. The least you can do is buy me some cookies and a drink. He got kind of tight after doing that for a few days after, the first 2 weeks. So the third week, I'm like, yo, I'm not sending my people your way no more. And he was like, but we homies. I'm like, I get that. But if you can't hold me down as I'm holding you down, I don't know what to tell you. Like, bro, it's business. It's nothing personal. That kind of damaged our friendship a little bit. But at that point, it's like, okay, well, I hear what Drew is saying reluctantly, but he was still upset. So even at that time, we kind of stopped talking for a bit because of the situation. Now, I understand the value of your network. I saw my grandfather, or what my grandfather had done in ministry. I saw what my dad was doing in ministry, which was very similar. My uncle was following suit as well. My uncle, who is he's taken over my grandfather's ministry. So, hey, I just wanted to share with you what I found from my research. A lot of people fail at what they do business-wise. They don't really challenge themselves. So, Connectors Corner is offering Tiny Challenge now. Dive in, connect, expand your business, blow your business up, and do some of those things that you haven't been doing, and we're going to change your business in the next 30 days. Challenge. Try it out. Let's see what you got. So yeah, understanding the power of your network is something I normally teach most of my clients when we first start out. And I tell them, hey, audit your network. Let's do an audit on your network. That's the first thing. And that was the biggest mistake I made because I didn't understand the real value of my network or what value my network actually brought. I just felt like I know a decent enough amount of people. I wasn't most popular because I was a ball player, but I didn't play high school ball. Not varsity anyway. I wasn't a pretty boy. I dressed decent, but I wasn't a pretty boy. And I wasn't the guy that everybody thought had the best clothes and, new car and all that type of stuff. I was very under the radar, which was fine with me. But that was high school. College was very similar, but college, now you start to tap into different networks because you're in spaces that are somewhat melting pots, right? You got people from different cities, different cultures, different backgrounds in the same spaces. So I ended up going from being in high school to Damon College. I went to Damon College for a while and loved it. Met some beautiful women, some awesome friends. It was cool because I ended up being friends with a lot of the frat guys and, playing ball. A lot of the frat guys, some of them played ball. Some of them just liked to play. They wasn't good, but they liked to play. So, getting invited to all the parties and hanging out overnight or staying out super late. And because we're so close to the border, I look at it differently. But back in the day, we used to go to Canada and party. And we would go, it was somewhere to party every night in Canada. Again, your network. So my network, I had some ball players, and one of them was very well known in Canada. So he would get us into all the clubs. We walking in, we getting red carpet treatment like, we a whole entourage, just 20 of us. And we walked right by the line, red carpet laid out and all that. It was awesome. It was awesome. Awesome experience. So getting a chance to have those experiences, though, tapping into new networks, I still didn't understand the value of my network. But at this time, I had started to develop as an entrepreneur, starting to understand business on higher levels, understanding different types of businesses. This is 18, 19, 20. By this time, I had started my first network marketing company. At age 17, that was officially my first network marketing company. I was working it with my mom. I was still tapped into that, but I was tapping into new opportunities. And doing that helped stretch my skill, but I still didn't understand the value of my network, because this is one of the other biggest mistakes I made. I don't know which number this was, but this was one of the biggest mistakes I made, though. Underestimating the value of your network. If I presented you with an opportunity, whether it was a business opportunity or an opportunity to buy a product, and you told me no, I would immediately write you off. It's over. That's it. I don't really have no dealings unless you're going to come back to me at some point and talk to me about this opportunity or this product. That was very immature. And I didn't realize that until later on, and I became a coach. It took me probably about 15 years to really understand the gravity of what I had done. One of my other business coaches was saying that, he said this in a training. He was kind of doing a training for all of us, but I took it to heart. He said, who you were before you started business, you'll pay the price for who you were before you started business once you start one. You'll pay the price for it, because people don't know you as a business person. They know you as, let's just say, using me for an example, the Drew Dockery, the ball player, or Drew Dockery, the church kid, Drew Dockery, the drummer, Drew Dockery, the smart kid from school who was in the Excel classes. They know me as that. They don't know me as Drew Dockery, the entrepreneur. So this person I have developed into and become, they can't fully accept it. That does not mean they're not qualified to still be a part of my network. But their choice to view me a certain kind of way, I made the decision for them and disqualified them from being a part of my network. That is extremely foolish, because the value of your network is really where all of your wealth is. I learned now, especially looking at this generation coming, it's really not even about the product you sell. It's more so about the brand, and not because it's name brand, high fashion brand, or anything like that. That helps, but it's more so about your individual brand. Who are you as a person that people know you for this, or people know you to be trustworthy? So if you do introduce them to a product or a service, or you refer them something, they willingly take the referral and go ahead and have a better experience with whatever you're referring to them. So, major mistake that crippled my business for a long time. So I really didn't make a whole lot of money at all. It took me about maybe 10 to 13 years before I started to really understand the concepts I was already learning and being taught about how to spread out and create the network. So from 2002 to maybe 2000, I would say 14. It was a lot of throwing mud on the wall, hearing certain principles, being in all these different trainings, and never understanding how to make the principles work in my business. 2014, something clicked, because I started to understand the developing of a network. So I would meet all these different people all the time. I go to all these different business events. I'm meeting all these different people. I'm connecting with all these professionals, and still not understanding the principle. Now, I taught one of our previous conversations, know them who labor among you. Knowing them who labor among you is how you build your network. Your goal should not be to sell everybody in your network, but your goal is to expose them to who you are, your brand, your business, your service, whatever you do, they need to know you more than just a face or a name. So you have to connect with them on a level where if you text them or they saw you somewhere, they recognize you enough to say, yo, I didn't know you were doing that. Or if I know you were doing that, man, I've been meaning to call you. Let's talk. Let's chat. Let's communicate. Let's connect. Let's go out for coffee. Let's do something, because they understand the value of what you bring to their network, right? So understanding that, I didn't understand that then. Again, 10, 12 years before I started to really understand that. And I'm around top earners. I'm around people who make six figures. At one point, 80% of the contacts in my phone were six-figure earners. They all earned over $100,000 a year. At the time, I'm like, this is major. When I finally did my audit on my network, I'm like, yo, that's major. But it really didn't matter because they were all in different spheres of business. Some of them are just regular business professionals working for a company. They're working on commission. Some of them own their own businesses. So it was a gamut of different types of people making this kind of money. But what I find is everybody who makes that kind of money are not the same. Just because you make more does not mean that you are more. It's a lot of dudes who have slipped into spaces where they make more money or they grow their income, but they're not personally developed enough to say how they actually did it was the right way. Or they're not personally developed enough to say what they do as a business professional actually warranted them that result. Some of them were just right place, right time. Some of them were just products of a company who allows you to make sales because they have the education to be able to go be in that position. They may not even do much. Quiet as it's kept, a lot of the people that I know who made that kind of money that worked for companies that are not owned by them, they were hermits. Like, I know CPAs who make great money, but their personality is trash because they don't know how to communicate with people. They don't connect with people. All they see is numbers and digits and addition and subtraction and division and multiplication. That's all they know. So that, like, the stuff that make you a person, they don't know. That you might as well be a calculator with legs. You know what I mean? Because they have no idea how you connect with people to build businesses, to grow a business, to be effective in what you do. So 2014, from 2002 to 2014, I'm working a regular job, and I'm actually still there part-time. It's cool. No harm done. There's some other things I'm dealing with legally that I'm just like, look, we'll figure it out. Child support stuff, old failed marriage. So I'm living through it. I'm growing through it. And the job is keeping me safe and sustained at the moment outside of the business, because now the business is separate. But at the same time, it is what it is. There are limits. And someday I'll get a chance to talk about that. But 2014 is when it all changed. I went to, I think, a conference in St. Louis. I started to get around some other business owners, and I'm hearing the same stories more than once, starting to understand the power of their network. So all this time, from 2002 to 2014, I'm actively creating networks. I'm actively growing in business. I am actively connecting with the marketplace, with people in the marketplace. And I was not in ministry. I knew people in ministry because that's still a part of my life, but it's not something that I was focused on doing. I felt like, from a spiritual standpoint, the way I had decided to live my life, because I was a teen dad, had my first son at 17, I thought that disqualified me from ministry. Never realized it would make ministry more necessary or want to pull me in more for whatever God's purposes are for my life at that time. Now I get it. But back then I didn't understand it. And again, I still did not understand how my grandfather did what he did and really was able to equate it, because even though at the time people would mention him to me and they would mention my dad, but I never asked or I never sat and thought about why that was happening to me. Why are people bringing up my grandfather? Why are people bringing up my dad? I loved my grandfather. My grandfather was probably the wisest person I've ever met in person. Did he do everything perfect? No. But he was just an all-around smart, sharp dude, and he was real. So he was like my favorite person ever. But my dad, next to that, I'm a daddy's boy. So that's what I do. Like, my dad is like one of my favorite persons in the world. But understanding what they were doing to build ministry, I never understood how that would equate to the business world. Well, as I got older and I'm dabbling in business and all these different business ventures, I had it wasn't a note company, but I had a company that purchased notes or would wholesale notes to other people who wanted to buy the debt. I had a real estate business that I was just doing. I still do real estate on the investor side. So that's cool. But that was when I started to wholesale, started to get into property on that level. I had a health and wellness business. All of these businesses failed, by the way, or if they didn't fail, they weren't as productive as they could be or could have been. Because I didn't know everything I needed to do to really grow them at that age. So you had the health and wellness business. Then I went from the health and wellness business to an insurance company called Legal Shield. We worked with them for a number of years. And after that, I started a coffee company. The coffee company was organic coffee, Organo Gold. We called it OG for short. And I went from doing the coffee in 2014. I think that was when I really started to understand how businesses are built so big, because OG had a plethora of top income earners. I mean, it was dudes that would be in the events that we go to, and they would be standing on the wall, don't even have a seat, and they earn $150,000 a month. I think the first time, my business coach at that time, Suleiman Rahman, he was probably the closest thing that I could equate to visual success, because he had everything going. He was in shape. He had the clothes. He had the nice S-Class Mercedes-Benz. He had the custom suits. He had the high fashion shoes and belts. He had the he actually took his watch off. He had a Breitling. He had a Breitling watch that was platinum and diamond crusted all the way around it, from the band to the face to the bezel. Everything was covered in diamonds. The watch itself was, I think, $90,000 to $100,000. And he would just wear it coming to regular, what we would call coffee parties. We would do coffee and jazz mixers, is what they were called. But he would go to these different events to show the success of what he's been able to build with this company. We started working together in 2013. So 2014, getting to big events, getting around other big earners like him who were even bigger than he had. That was how I got connected with Jared, David Menetier, and some of the greats in the industry that I still look up to this day. And they're a few years older than me, but at the same time, what they've been able to do, because they were so close to where it all started, working with Houghton Bugs. And I'm doing a lot of name dropping. I'm sorry. Not trying to name drop. I'm just trying to make sure you guys understand the timeline of the story. And it shouldn't matter, because I don't think it really hurts anything. But at the same time, they were what I saw as success, and they showed me how success really looked, what it was to do, how do you do it, how do you work this hard, how do you get to these levels of success. Houghton Bugs being the number one income earner in all of network marketing around the world for like 7-8 years, the only one who would even battle for his position was a gentleman called Dexter Yeager out of Amway. And he had been the top dog for 30 years, 40 years, number one income earner, doing millions of dollars a month. And he wasn't even building the business at that time because he was so old. But he ended up passing away, God bless the dead. R.I.P. But yeah, that was only a few years ago. He's been around for a long time. Even still, you have these type of gentlemen that I'm able to connect with and pick their brains. And that's what I was learning. When people mentioned my grandfather, I never really asked the right questions. So when I got around them and learned how to ask the right questions at that time, I was in a space where I wasn't really, I was in church. I was the minister of music at my church. And the music director, but I wasn't really focused on ministry on that level. Because again, I still feel like I'm disqualified. So I wasn't worried about becoming a preacher on a traditional level or doing traditional ministry that way. So it was a tough road, but this is how I started to understand the growth of a network, because these guys that I was connected to in business, they're in network marketing. People feel like network marketing is a scam or network marketing is a pyramid scheme. First of all, let's discredit that theory. Pyramid schemes have no product or service. So that's just it. Pyramid schemes have no product or service to exchange for money. So it's not a pyramid scheme. Is it a business without walls? Absolutely. And to be quite honest, every last business that has ever been started was started because the business offered something to a network of people. That was how network marketing came to be. First company was a makeup company, something like Avon or Mary Kay, but it was before them. And then Mary Kay came along. It gave single moms opportunities to make money, not going to traditional work like most men, but they were going to make money and do it in houses without it being an issue. And they were selling beauty products. Craziest thing, a man was the dude who was the top seller or leader of Mary Kay. It was his mom's name, I think, something like that. But Mary Kay is a business that's still around even now. You see all types of pink Cadillacs riding around every now and then. But it's that understanding. When you have a product or a service that's good, in order to get it into the marketplace, you have to create a network to take this product or service and drop it into, so that people can buy the product or the service and then they can tell everybody else about it. That is all network marketing is. It is the marketing of a service or product to your network. Now, if you take the same concept and you push it through any industry, you will find it is the exact same principle. There is no religion. There is no business. There is no church. There is no company. There is no organization started without the power of a foundational network. So my grandfather was intricate with that company because he was able to help them build and grow their network. The network of churches that was a part of this organization, that are still a part of this organization. Many of them still to this day are part of this organization. But he built the network of churches to help this organization grow to the level of where they are right now. It took him building a network, him helping them to build a network. Lord, this thing is kicking my behind. But it is that understanding of how to grow and develop and connect with people in different spaces, different cultures, different backgrounds. That is what a network is. It is different cultures, backgrounds, people coming together with the same agenda. So in high school, I understood the network piece, but never understood how important it was, because and this was the key, each person you meet is a doorway to a new network. So if you foster or steward that relationship properly, you now open the door for you to get into a new network. The Bible said, lift up your heads, O ye gates. The gates don't have heads, bro. We're the gates, because we're the ones that take the gospel to other places so that God can come in and be glorified. So that is the concept, that is the principle, but we miss it because we're focused on other things. We're focused more so on the spirituality of it. And it has a spiritual component, but the bare bones minimum, understand the concept of how it is built. Now, right now, I've seen more business people who are preachers and teachers. There's one dude I follow on YouTube named Omar, and I found out he's a pastor. I'm like, it makes sense, but he's not in the type of denomination I'm a part of. But even the denominations I'm a part of, the pastors, the leaders, they're starting to get into positions and do different things where they are now valuable to marketplace and ministry. And I know that is a part of my purpose. So I spoke with one of the leaders I have a lot of respect for. He's a very close friend of my family. Knew my grandfather, knows my uncles, my dad. And he was saying, you have to be able to bridge both, because honestly, there is no separation between ministry and marketplace. That is what my purpose is, to bridge that gap and to help people grow their networks in those spaces as a coach, as a minister, or whatever, because the titles really don't matter. It's just doing the work. But he was like, it's necessary, because even though church is spirituality, it's still business. So if they don't understand the business part of it, the business portion, then the spiritual part of it stays in its space and it doesn't move or go different places and go throughout the world like the Great Commission said to. So to me, business and ministry are very much so intertwined and very related. The only thing that changes the dynamic of those relationships is the product. The product in ministry is religion or God. The product in business is whatever you sell. So it is up to you on how that product or service is moved through these different spaces. Okay. So that is the majority of my origin story. So 2014, I get into, I was in the coffee company about a year, 2 years. I stayed around till 2015. 2016 was when everything changed. Now, I was failing miserably, but I still was growing and developing and becoming more valuable to the marketplace, because I was always doing personal development. I'm always reading my Bible, which is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, personal development book. It is the greatest personal development book written, period, because there are so many principles in there. But I grew into a person who can now understand the concept of growing a business through a network. In 2016, I created my first six-figure business in less than 30 days. So this is not making $100,000 at once. This is me creating a business that would generate, it had enough momentum to generate $100,000 in revenue over a 12-month time span, but the activity was only put in for a week, so I really didn't have to touch it for the rest of the year. Okay, so that was the first time. The second thing I did was 2019, maybe 2020. I think I have it written down as 2020, but I think I looked at all of the years accumulated and what I was able to do when I sat down and actually did that recap or reflection. It was 2020. But the real was I built my first 7-figure business in 2019, right before COVID. So no, I wasn't a COVID superstar. I know a lot of people came out during COVID as business professionals or whatever, and they were killing the game. No, I didn't get that opportunity. But what I did was from 2011 to 2020, I was going to different markets, training and teaching on how to build the business. Even myself, I didn't build it as big as I wanted to because I was still stuck in the mindset somewhat that people have to do something for me to allow me to stay connected, right? So they have to either buy a product or join the business, right? Or be a part of the service. I didn't learn that you shouldn't disconnect from them until I got away from network marketing in 2020. 2021, I still leveraged network marketing, but it wasn't on that level. Not like the way I was building it. I think 2016, I started another health and wellness company. Did that for a year. It was okay. 2017, I tapped into more of what I wanted to do, which was business and investing. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So I actually started to learn how to trade with IML. I was working with David Emanitier. But again, it was just something I was doing to learn. I was looking to just learn, and I was connecting with people who had similar interests on learning how to invest. Nobody knew COVID was coming. The virus pandemic was coming. Because I don't know if they still flagging them words or whatever. So, yeah. But nobody knew it was coming. So with that being the case, everybody still wanted to learn how to invest. Everybody wanted to be able to make more money, make their money work for them. So that was the premise. So what I would do is this thing called Cafe Pips. I would do it every week. And I would go to one of the local coffee shops, meet up with a couple friends who trade, and we will all just get together and trade and talk about what we're seeing in the market. As that grew, a lot of people wanted to come and connect. Before we know it, it's 20, 25 people in the coffee shop, and we had to kind of figure out what else we can do to grow it. So in that moment, I recruited 2 other 6-figure earners in network marketing, and we ended up growing it to a 7-figure business. Did I make 7 figures? No. The business made 7 figures. It was 7 figures in revenue, $1 million in revenue that we were able to help generate. But it was a team effort, and that was because it was a network of people who had a similar agenda, right? So I leave network marketing, and 2020 was when I really leaned into ministry. I've been doing all the studying the Bible for business, and I hit a point where I felt like God wouldn't let me grow any further. It was like a glass ceiling moment. I can't go any further than this, because if you go any further than this, then you'll get to a place where you'll feel like you don't need me. And just from my ministerial understanding, he is going to do what's necessary to show you that you need him and to keep himself employed in your life, period. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. He's already the giver of everything that I have. He's already the person or the individual who allows me to be able to have success on these mild levels that I've had them. So being able to do any of that wouldn't make sense. I've had cars. My favorite car probably was the Dodge Magnum RT all-wheel drive, fully loaded. I think it was a 2005 joint. Navigation, sunroof, and all that. Around 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. But I had the car, and it had too many problems, electrical problems that I couldn't fix, and I'm just like, forget it, let it go. But I had that, had 3 cars and a motorcycle. I had a family, but we had a little bit of money. We wasn't broke. We was doing okay. Business wasn't doing great, but it was doing okay. And again, this is still doing okay without understanding the real principles of what I've learned up until this point. So 2020, I decided to walk away from network marketing totally. I mean, in part, not totally, in part. 2021, I decided to walk away totally. And I decided to go and get a job. Now, mind you, at these moments, I was coaching and training different sales professionals in different marketplaces. They were in different markets. So I would go to Memphis, I would go to Cincinnati, go to New York. These different markets had salespeople who needed to be trained to do the business better for network marketing. So that's what I would do. And I had a bunch of friends who were still in traditional business. Again, now this is when I started to actually save contacts and keep them, even if they told me no to the business or the product. My old business coach used to say, if they tell you no, that just means not right now. That doesn't mean that they'll never join. But because I was at that moment, in those moments, I was looking for instant gratification. I'm looking for money to be made immediately because we need the money. I need a story. I need some success. I need some results. I need some fruits of my labor, right? But not understanding, I should still keep these relationships and cultivate them. So 2019 was when I really started to keep the relationships and cultivate them. It took me a long time to get to that level, but I started to do it and do it regularly, right? So one of my friends who was in car sales ended up leaving car sales after 20 plus years as a salesman. He goes to a company, a tech company. I don't know if I should say their name on the podcast. I don't want to get him the pre-promo, but okay. So a local company, he goes to the company and he becomes the manager. Now, I'm like, I want to take what I've been teaching in the network marketing space.
There's a secret to why most professionals aren't seeing the results they really want and deserve. Most people fail because they consistently fumble moments just like this. No more 100 plus calls a day, no more running out of people to talk to about what you're doing, and no more wasted efforts in spaces with no results. I'm Drew Dockery, and as an entrepreneur for over 20 plus years, I've mastered the art of creating endless opportunities, regardless if it's business or ministry. Join our free community where we can show you how to triple or more than triple your results in 6 months. Hit the link and let us usher you into some new rooms, starting with our C3 community. Hurry up. Your success is waiting on you. I'll see you soon.
I want to take what I've learned or been learning and teaching in the network marketing space, and I want to actually put it to traditional business plans or traditional business atmospheres, traditional business period, to see what it would do. And because I understood the gravity of what I was doing, I know it wouldn't be readily accepted, but I needed to test it out in the traditional business market to see if what I was talking about was really true. And the reason why I wanted to do that was because the success that I was connected to and close to in the network marketing space, first of all, the network marketing space is a very, very accelerated space. You can actually do something amazing business-wise and reap the benefits over and over and over again in a short span of a 90-day run aggressively. And then that 90-day run turns into, a six-figure income for the year. Because network marketing is set up to have accelerated results because it's not bound or confined to the ramifications of time. It's the one thing that's built that's not focused on time. And that's what the wealthy do. I was reading the book Robert Kiyosaki put out, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he has a segment called the Cash Flow Quadrant. Then he wrote a book that was specifically about the cash flow quadrants and put that out to the market. So if you go way back in my videos, there are videos of me breaking down the cash flow quadrant. One is employed. These are all the ways you make money. It's only 4 ways to really make money. You're either employed, you're self-employed, you're a an investor, or a business owner. So those are the four quadrants. So everybody who makes money is going to fit into one of these spaces, right? Understanding that investors don't look to get paid off their own efforts. I think it was Paul J. Getty that said, I would rather be paid 1% of 100 people's efforts as opposed to being paid on 100% of my own efforts. Now, why would he say that? I know everything I know about what I know. What I don't know is what I don't know. Them who know something I don't know, I can get paid from. They can help me get paid. So I don't have to go and learn what they know. They know how to do it so they can make the money and I can get a percentage. When you think like that, that is how network marketing is created. That was how I was able to do my first 6-figure business in less than 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, less than 30 days. It was a lot of people coming together from different networks, different marketplaces. And now we all come together to have one common goal. We're moving a product through our networks. Network marketing. See, full circle, bringing it full circle. I'm telling you, I understand. So that was what I got. And because we had people in California, people in Texas, people in Arizona, people in Oklahoma, people all over the country who were buying product, not a whole lot of product, but just small amounts of product at the same time. And it all just accumulated. And that's what took us to the next level. When I did that, I was like, oh my God. Now, I'll talk about it one day, how we actually did it and what tools we did to do it. And I usually keep that for my clients, but I'll give y'all that because it's really understanding the execution of it. But we created something that one of my other business coaches calls information flow. So understanding how to flow information to get you exposure is how you grow the business. I took this concept, this mindset, these philosophies, these principles, and I was looking to apply it to this tech company that I have applied for. So my buddy goes from the car sales company to the tech company. And he says, yo, I've been here for a few months, but the guys who work here suck. You should come join me here. If you're looking for a new job, let me know. So my thing is, I was looking for a traditional business or a traditional job position that pays $100,000. Or at least gives me the ability to go earn it. Not necessarily salary, but I wanted commission because I knew I had to out-earn time. I had to out-earn time what most people would give you hourly because I already had a regular job. I still kept my part-time job, never left. Except for the 1 year. I left 1 year, 2014 to 2015, to really pursue real estate investing and the coffee company. Kept us afloat, but I ended up going back to work. But I wanted to see what I knew and how I could apply it to traditional business. He said, okay, cool. I'll get you in. So I go in. I am dressed to the nines, fully dressed, very nice. I got on a full suit, high fashion belt, nice shoes. I looked very good. Very, very good. I must say myself, I looked very good. When I got there, he was really impressed because he's never actually seen me in the business space. He's only seen me at basketball games. So again, he knows me as a person who likes sports, not as a business professional. So even coming in that day changed his perception of me. The conversations we've had have been a lot more high level, but at the same time, it was something different from the norm. Okay? Because he could probably tell there's something about this dude that I like, but I can't put my finger on it. He didn't know until that moment. So I walk in, we do the interview. He loves the business mind I have. The Lord has blessed me with. So now he's like, look, I'm sure you're in. You're a go to me. So I'm about to show you your office. He takes me to my office. I was going to be an executive account manager. So the position paid anywhere from, I think the first year he said about 80 to 90,000. The second year I should be well over 100,000. And then, it could go up from there. So I should be well over 120,000 by the second year. So I said, okay, that's cool. That's a good start. It's a great start, actually. Great start, actually. But I was set up to. I was applying what I already knew business wise. How can we make it work and do what he's talking about faster? It's 4 months left in the year. How can I get some deals coming in that'll pay me over $100,000 over the next 4 months? That's what I was thinking. So my goal was to put together that kind of activity, that kind of business movement and momentum. So we're in the interview process, and I'm thinking all this while we're talking. I'm figuring out how I can actually, coordinate this whole this whole launch of me being in this process with the new job, right? So we get into this space where all the other sales reps are. These are the guys I'll be over and kind of assisting to help them make sales. As I'm walking into the space, they're walking up, shaking my hand. He's going to be our new executive account manager. So you guys are going to be working with him as well. They are, oh man, that's what's up. That's cool. So they shake my hand. They're dapping me up. They're excited. And come to find out, there's nobody in the office that makes less than $100,000 in commission. And I'm thinking to myself, no offense to them, regular guys, cool dudes. But when it came to business, this was not what I was used to. And I was not trying to downplay them or who they were. But the dudes that I know, if these dudes are in here making $100,000 a year, the cats I know would come in here and do $1 million. Because I don't even understand how they making money in here, and they're almost, Jesus, I was about to say something crazy. These dudes is not that bright to me. I'll say it that way. They're not that bright. I was not impressed. I'm looking at the way they're dressed. I'm looking at how they talk. I'm looking at how they handle themselves and how they communicate. And it just didn't make any sense to me to where it would actually equate to being necessary. So I'm just like, this is stupid. If they're in here making this kind of money, I know I'm about to kill this thing. One guy, while I was talking to him, we were standing there talking. I was getting a tour of the whole facility. And I'm just thinking about different plays I'm going to be running in the next month or so. And the guy walks up. We're sitting there talking. And he had a $27,000 commission hit as we were having a conversation. It's September. So at that moment, it pushed him over the six-figure mark for the year. I'm like, oh, Lord, you have answered my prayers. Thank you. Hallelujah. Right? That's what I'm thinking. So I leave. I start the plan. I'm connected with a few churches, a few pastors. I knew they needed what we offered. So I set up most of them was like, yo, we need it, so we're good. But I was setting up a lunch and learn to be at this facility so that they can try the product out to see what machine or what they may need for their facility, for their churches. That was one side of it. I had about 20 pastors. The other side of it was I had a connection to the VA hospital here. They were up with their contract and they needed new products. So they were looking to get new products. And the person who was over that happened to be connected to somebody that I was connected to. That's how you grow your network. When they usher you into some new rooms, he didn't need to hear anything from me. All he needed to know was if we offered the product that they needed. And because we did, he was like, yo, the moment you can sell this to me, call me, please. This contract is up in December. You should be starting when? I said October. I definitely will be full swing, but I'm going in by the end of this month. I'll be done with the training. This was September. He said, great. Call me next month. The first week of October. Call me. This deal for the VA hospital was going to gross over $5 million in technology purchased. So I knew for a fact them giving me 10% was about to be over. So my goal was set. I was good. Problem is the VP, right? So I got the meeting with the manager who I'm going to be working hand in hand with. He wants me there. And he knows I'm going to kill it. And he knows I'm going to help the other guys kill it. So My territory was downtown. He had already had me set up. I had stuff set up. Oh my God, it was so sweet. I'm just like, I wish, I wondered why that didn't work out, but everything happens for a reason. But I'm just wondering if that would have happened the way it was, laying out, what would have been the move. So he goes, meets with the VP, the manager does. Then the VP wants to meet with me. So I go meet with the VP. Same deal. Walk in. What's up, guys? What's up, fellas? How y'all doing? Yada, yada, yada. And I meet with the VP. Me and him talk for an hour and a half. I'm like, there's no way I'm not getting this position. There's no way. Me and the VP hit it off. And then 2 weeks later, my guy calls me back, or I text him, hey, what's going on? Or I text the VP, what's going on? When can I start? He was like, hey, you know what? I think we're going to go in a different direction. You don't qualify for what we're looking for. So I am immediately bummed. I am so bummed because I'm like, what I know business wise, I want to write a book, but I don't want to write a book until it's proven for sure in traditional business. I know it works in network marketing. I don't know if it works in traditional business. When I told my guy who got me in, he was like upset to the point where him and the VP almost got into an altercation. I'll put it like that. So they get into an issue. They have an issue. They got a tizzy. They get into a tizzy, right? And from there, he calls me back. He's angry. And this is after like a day or two. But every time he brings it up, it incites some sort of emotion from him because he believes they were losing something. And he felt like the VP made a big mistake, right? So we kept in touch, obviously, because we're friends. And I believe the VP made a big mistake, but he made the decision that he felt was right for his organization. You cannot blame him for that. Now, after that, I decided to write my book. Okay? I write my first book, The Connector's Handbook. The Connector's Handbook was supposed to be a blueprint for how to network and kind of change the relationship into something sales-wise. But at the same time, I'm teaching what I do. I started to teach what I do as a coach. I started to actually promote what I do. We started the Connectors Corner podcast. That's why a lot of it is horrible. Even if this, down the line, this is probably going to be a horrible video. But at the same time, the information, the principles that you pull out of them, please grab the information because that is what's the most valuable. It's the information. It's not about the presentation, the phone, the camera, the lights, the mic, whatever. Everything could be absolutely trash. Even the sound could be terrible. But at the same time, it's the information that's most important. So 2021, closing out 2021, I start the Connectors Corner under Dockery Firm LLC. So I start the Connectors Corner and we write the book. We released the book 2022 and we're growing our connections to the marketplace. And we're still growing. Sell a bunch of copies of the book. The book is out there. It does decent. It's still doing good. But we wanted to do better, right? And it was me tapping into my network. So what I did was, at that time, I started to implement what I had already known from network marketing, from business. I implemented it into traditional business. Does this work in different spaces? So what I did was I had a lot of clients that were in the real estate space. I had clients that were in insurance. I had clients all over the place. I was bringing on not necessarily official clients for as attorneys that were attorneys, but they needed help too because a lot of them was trash at what they do too. They know the law, but they don't know how to go get business. Knowing what you do or knowing your subject matter is the first part. The second part is, how can I get people to talk to about what I know? That was the issue. So that was why they hired me. That was why they connected with me, because it was the execution that they were lacking, right? So my one guy who's in the real estate space, he's a real estate agent. He was telling me, he was like, I'm going to meet with one person for the next for the next year, every week, once a week, I'll have lunch with somebody. And I said, are you looking to sell like one house a year? And he was like, well, no. I'm like, listen, I'll coach you for free on this. Just, I need you to do exactly what I'm telling you to do. If you do exactly what I'm telling you to do, in the next, I would say 60 days, you should have a client on the hook to sell a house or sell or have somebody buy a house in the next 60 days. He said, okay, I'll take you up on that, Drew. I was like, okay, listen, you're going to have to not, first of all, it was the audit on your network. And I'm like, you're going to have to condense this time frame. You have meetings, you got time every day. So Monday to Friday, you need to be having lunch and meeting with somebody. Either there's somebody who's selling a house or buying a house or looking to buy. But you need to be talking to somebody every day, Monday through Friday, at least 2 to 3 people a day. He said, okay, I can do that. I'm like, it ain't got to be long meetings. It just needs to be a conversation. So it can be in person or over the phone. I'll give you the lineage to that. He was like, okay, cool. Let's do it. Literally 15 days later, he's like, oh my God, Drew, it actually worked. And I was like, that was the first thing. Second thing is, I need you to get to every networking event you can go to. In the next 30 days, you need to be at every networking event you can attend. He said, okay. So those are the 2 things I gave him. 2 pieces of homework. He knocks it out. And by the end of the first month, he had his first house that was about to be listed and then get it sold. So first house listed. It wasn't on the market for more than 48 hours. Because he had a network of buyers already. And he had a network of people who were looking for certain product outside of the buyers, outside of the investors. But all he did was kind of create the frenzy. And in the first 30 days, he ended up selling his first house, his first property. Now, mind you, he's been in real estate for years, at least 2 years, 1 or 2 years. But he never understood the value of his network. He was a photographer and he's super sharp, super smart. He actually is he's still one of my friends to this day. And I haven't talked to him in a while. We need to actually link up and have coffee so I can find out what's going on. But at the same time, my point is, it was him changing his mindset from what he thought about business up until that point. That was kind of one of the biggest tells. I knew people liked me. So even me doing business the way I was always taught in network marketing in traditional spaces like that, it's still, I still may have an edge on the market because people like me to some degree. I'm not the favorite person, but people like me somewhat. I'm likable. I can have a conversation. Now, what they say about me when I leave a room, I have no idea. And being completely honest is none of my business. It's none of my business. However, being able to connect, being able to talk to people in those rooms and in those spaces is what's most important. How do they see you when you come in the room? They may not like me the most. They may not think I'm the smartest guy. They probably may not even think I'm a good business person. But they understand that I hold certain value. And with that value, they respect me. And because of that value, we do business together. And that is how I pretty much started becoming a coach and why I got into the coaching space and why I started doing what I was doing. I was shut out from traditional business, so I couldn't get into the existing lanes. To prove what I knew, I had to create my own lane. So even as a business coach, what I teach, networking into sales, is what I teach. I am the only one who teaches this. I know plenty of other coaches. They teach sales, they teach business strategy, they teach all of these different things that have nothing to do with growing as an individual and at the same time creating bigger income. They don't teach that. I do. But because we all don't teach the same thing, we can connect. But what people don't understand about what I do is what I do can be used anywhere. I was talking about ministry. That was my grandfather to the T. Like my grandfather at one point, He was living in places and wasn't paying for anything because of how much people loved what value he brought to them. He lived in Olean. They gave him a house. You know what I'm saying? Like it's he was ministering at all these different churches in Olean, Baptist churches. He's Pentecostal. So even what he knew, it transcended lines of demarcation for different denominations. And understanding that when you get into business, you don't lock yourself into specific cultures or ethnicities on doing business with just them. You want to do business with everybody. So I was always open to that, and I am still open to that always. I still have that right now. I'm blessed to have that, to be very diverse in who we're connected to as clients. And we can pick and choose who we connect to as clients. So that's my story. I know that's long. There's a lot to talk about. My goal was to just take some time and chat with you guys about this. And that leads me to our offer. What do we offer? We offer coaching services. We have a couple mastermind programs. And I want to reiterate my goal for next year, for the next 12 months. Because the networking piece is so key, I want to make sure we expose the Connectors Corner brand to over 1 million people next year, starting January 1st. That's the goal. We need over 1 million people exposed, and I mean controlled exposures, quality exposures to what the Connectors Corner brand has to offer, and see where we go from there. I'm not looking to sell you guys on anything right now. I'm just looking to actually grow, and I want to do it organically if I can. But if I got to pay for ads, I'll do that too. I'll be doing that. The problem is my social media was hacked. So I'm just finding out most of my posts are shadow banned and I can't even buy ads. So I have to do this in a way that is, what do they call it? I have to do it without not just buying ads, but I have to do it. The word is on the tip of my tongue. Organically. I have to organically grow, and it'll be gradual, but I want to organically grow at an exponential rate. So I need your help. The one thing we're offering right now, we're offering the books. We have the mastermind programs that you can still tap into. That'll take a one-on-one conversation because those aren't cheap and that requires a lot of private time. So we have a 90-day rocket ship mastermind course. We have a 6-month immersive, and then we have the mastery of 12 months. But right now, what I'm pushing is the Tiny Challenge. Tiny Challenge is 30 days. And the result is what you want to do is grow your network and create momentum. The whole purpose of the Tiny Challenge is for you to create momentum with what you're doing. You creating momentum is going to give you 98% more opportunities to sell and do business. 98% more. Only 2% of people, or 2% of closes of situations, transactions, actually close on the first meeting, at the first initial meeting. Only 2% close. So how do we know we can get 98%? Because we work other opportunities. It's not just that person that you're trying to close in that moment. It's what happens after that. So we want to get you 98% more opportunities to do business. And that will increase your sales by at least 50%, because everybody may not buy, but at least 50% increase on what you're doing as far as income. So that's what the Tiny Challenge is. I guarantee you we can increase your profitability 50% and give you a higher closing ratio, 98% chance of doing it better. Okay? So that's all we got for today. I hope you guys were intrigued and tapped into my story. It was a lot of different places, a lot of moving parts. But at the end of the day, we're just looking to build and connect with you guys and bring value to the marketplace. So even though that's my story, and I know people probably don't care, which is okay with me, I just hope you can pick something out of it and kind of retweak or rethink how you look at business being done in your industry, business being done in your city, business being done for your ministry, how you do business in ministry, how you connect with the marketplace, or how you connect with your community to grow the ministry, to do what you've been called to do. So, well, that's enough of that. Like I tell you all the time, dream bigger, believe better, and expect greater. I see y'all at the top. Peace.